Hello, everyone. My name is Prabhaav.
And my name is Aditya.
Here is our presentation on our 2022 Democracy Youth Film Challenge.
So the issue we're going to be discussing today is our First Amendment rights. And one of the growing issues in our modern society is if our First Amendment rights continue to be tested and put at risk.
Our First Amendment includes five main expressed rights, specifically written in the Constitution, as shown on the screen: freedom of religion, speech, press, right to assembly, and to petition for governmental redress. In this mini documentary, we're going to be going over four of those. First, we have the freedom of religion. So I have a quote from David that shows the important freedom that shows the importance of freedom of religion to foster diversity in beliefs. So it says, this is our task, and it will be our ongoing challenge. Religious freedom is more than a right, it is a duty. So freedom of religion. So religious freedom is a fundamental human right as it is expressed in the Constitution. It's critical to a diverse society and allows different beliefs to flourish. So the main question is, doesn't this mean everyone should be actively protected under this, right? So, as a pandemic happened, that's been put on question. For example, as you see below, from our news video, religious exemptions from COVID-19 vaccine mandates grow. So during the pandemic, many felt that their religious rights had disappeared. There were many controversies and opinions formed on this matter. So should this be allowed? There are two viewpoints that people look at this. In one viewpoint, we can respect those who believe their religion that it does exempt it. However, the Supreme Court has never held that a religious exemption applies to a vaccination mandate. So this puts into question, does this show we truly have freedom of religion? And what happened to our rights? And like what time it really just like kind of decreased, or like we don't have it anymore as much. So next we have the freedom of speech. So you have a right to say something, we have a right to say something, everyone does, even if others disagree. And it's really important because you can use your voice to criticize. So here's a quote that says, if the freedom of speech is taken away, then dumb and silent we may be led, like sheep to the slaughter. And this is from George Washington.
So the major issue concerning our freedom of speech is the question if we are actually truly able to express ourselves. So the First Amendment protects the freedom of speech, which means that Americans are able to freely express their opinions, views, beliefs, and thoughts. However, obviously there's going to be some regulation on this in order to protect our other rights as well, simultaneously. So for example, the government restricts the speech of obscenities, threats, harassment, or fraud. And also another issue that exists pertaining to this topic is the concern of freedom of speech regarding social media. And since social media companies are private corporations and are therefore separate from the government, they're allowed to place any restrictions on their users. And even though some people may feel like this restricts their First Amendment rights of freedom of speech, and they believe it's unconstitutional, they're still private corporations, but again, this is another like very heavily debated topic, and they have Americans have very opposing viewpoints on this issue. And next up, we have the freedom of assembly and petition against the government. So this quote below, it sums up the freedom of assembly as it shows like the ideals of democracy are basically vested in this freedom of assembly. And like how this allows people to, be participating in the government effectively. Okay, and in the next slide, we can see that recently, due to the increasing conflict and political divide that we experience in modern society, Americans have been much more active in protests to support the specific causes that they're interested in or that they have strong opinions on. And some of the major causes that are being heavily protested right now include abortion rights, Black Lives Matter protests, and like various boycotts that include a wide variety of things. So the issue arises when discussing the extent to which these protests are protected by the First Amendment. And overall, Americans are allowed to freely protest, express their opinions, support any cause that they want, even if they oppose or counteract the government and their actions. But again, there are certain regulations, and these include the restriction of slander, threats, and speech that incites violence. So overall, the big question concerning this freedom is that even though the First Amendment ensures that Americans will be able to peacefully assemble, what does this specifically include, and where is the line drawn between peaceful and violent? And Americans have very conflicting opinions on this issue, as it remains one of the most heavily debated topics in modern society. And yeah, that's our mini documentary. Thank you for listening. And
Bye, everyone. Thank you.